Good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the full moon magic ritual by Luna and the Druid. My name is Jan. I'm the Druid, and next to me is Luna. Hello, Luna. How are you?
Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Uh, so we are coming together today because the occasion is pretty spectacular. Today there is a full moon in Gemini. I'll explain briefly what does it mean in a second. And we decided with Jan that it's a great time to celebrate, come together and perform some ritual of releasing whatever is not longer working for us. Why? Because full moon is a perfect time to do so. With the astrological connection with the Gemini, this full moon may actually act as a catalyst for a lot of processes. As you know, or maybe you don't know, Geminis are represented by two kind of creatures, which to me they signified polarities. Geminis are also all about communications. Geminis cooperate. Geminis like to do everything together. Geminis like to have a team. So you may notice today that you're either feeling more socialized, more willing to socialize more, coming together, getting into gatherings like this, or actually you can feel the opposite of it. And you may notice how that full moon is triggering some dark, deep secrets within you or things you don't want to face. And right now, that's a perfect time to face it, to look what's actually the full moon is showing us, what is triggering. Like, for instance, today I had like a really mad day. Everything wasn't going right, everything wasn't go how it was planned. But what it actually showed me was what is that I need to work on? What is that my biggest fear? So it's a great time of reflection. It's a great time to going within and looking deep inside. Uh, Jan, are you feeling any effects of the full moon?
It's a day that I feel anxiety. I'm busy. I'm doing a lot of things. The full moon gives me energy. On the other hand, what I'm noticed on these very energetic days, that at the end of the day I'm exhausted. So it's just the illusion of feeling energetic, feeling anxiety, feeling wanting to do something and doing a lot of stuff, but still it's 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 illusionary. We've been tricked by the full moon into doing a lot and being tired at the end of the day. And we as Geminis, yeah, maybe that's a small revelation we have to do, because what's your star sign?
Gemini, Sun
My astro-
Gemini.
my astrological sign is Gemini too. So it's definitely a day for types like us. This full moon is a day for types like us, communicating, talking a lot, going out there, being seen, and well, look at us. We're online. We're doing it.
As well as facing illusions, as you said. And I think illusion will be one of the keys for today and for working of the energy of the moon.
Okay.
Uh, I,
Can you explain a bit then how the full moon influences this practices, these emotions, these energies?
of course, well, full moon reflects the light, literally. The light of the moon is it's actually light reflected from the sun. So the moon acts like a mirror which reflects the light from the sun. And what is actually interesting, it can have such a massive influence on every single person, but in a different way. We are, as our body, as our physical body, we are 70% of the water. And you're probably familiar of the effect and phenomenon of the tides, high tide, low tide, which get super high and super low during energy of the moon. We can see it especially here in the Atlantic ocean areas where the tides gets really, really, really high and really low. And in the same way, we can get affected by this absolute and massive amount of light because we are being exposed to more light than usual. And some people, like yourself, can feel more energized. It is to be said that in previous days, like long time ago, people were gathering under the light of full moon because they could see more. Because this blue light allows us to see things in the dark. And that's how the full moon can reflect ourselves as well. It can highlight what's undercover, what's not seen. Like I think you don't mind me if I'll bring one of my favorite cards of my favorite deck, Tarot, which actually represents the illusion and then reflection of what it is. And maybe later we could talk about more about the cards and the meanings itself. But what I love about this image, it shows me how much is actually under the water, and the water represents the elements. The element of water represents emotions. So very often we can be affected emotionally. In general, I would say that whatever we are feeling or going through, it'll be highlighted and enlarged during the energy of the full moon. And what I mean by the energy of full moon, it's actually 3 days in the period between the full moon itself, like we have today, we had it in the morning, but also the day before and day after. So some of people can notice that they are more irritated, that things annoy them more. We can also often see people getting more angry, people getting more tense in general, because what is under the surface at this time, it'll bubble up. It will show us that it's there and it wants to be released. That's why me and Jan thought that it would be a lovely opportunity today to perform a ritual which would help us a little bit to ease down this energy and make a room for new things to come by releasing whatever we want to let go of, whatever we want to change, basically. So in few moments, I will invite whoever is with us today, whoever is watching, to have an element of fire, like a candle, matches, or a lighter at hand, a piece of paper, an ashtray, or something which will be safe to burn things, because we're going to use energy of fire today. We're going to burn stuff today in front of the camera. So please be super, super cautious while doing it. I will guide the ritual. I will guide the process. And I will make sure that your guys doing the right thing, not to burn yourself. Yeah, my goodness, that was a lot on one breath.
Well, you prepare for the ritual. I will, as a druid, open the ritual. So welcome all participants.
That's great.
Bring peace to the quarters, and ask everybody to join me there. And when you're ready, I'll give the mic to you. So, by the power of star and stone, by the power of the land within and without, I, Jan Tetro the Druid, and Luna, guided by Luna, we both welcome you to our ritual, to our ceremony of the full moon in Gemini. You've come, hopefully, from the east, the west, the north, and the south to be here together, and we're all going to make it work. But we have to bring peace to the quarters, because without peace, no work can be done. So now, I'll turn to the north. May there be peace in the north. I'll turn to the south. May there be peace in the south. I turn to the east. May there be peace in the east. And I turn to the west. May there be peace in the west. And now, all together, we say, may there be peace throughout the whole world. And we do the same. When you're on YouTube, put it in the comments. May there be peace throughout the whole world. So here we go. May there be peace throughout the whole world.
It is done, it is done, it is done. Thank you, Jan. That was a beautiful opening of our circle. Thank you for bringing the Druid magic and the Druid elements of your celebrations and of your way of creating an opening circle. I loved that you actually called upon 4 elements and 4 sides of the world, and the intention is absolutely beautiful. So as we are ready to start our beautiful journey, I invite you to close your eyes for just a brief moment and imagine yourself wrapping in a bubble of light, blue light. Just surround yourself with blue light so you would know that you're safe and protected. When you finish, we can start performing a ritual. And I always like to start any ritual with lighting a candle for protection, to bring warmth, and also to bring light and the guidance. Every circle I join in, I love to cleanse first. Very often there is a lot of going on around us. We are tired. We bring energies of other people. And right now it's the time to just slow down, breathe, and just enjoy the present moment. So what I invite you to do is start with an incense. If you don't have it, you can also grab a cleansing herb of whatever of your choice. And I like to fire it with the candlelight, not the lighter, but the candle. It brings more warmth. And by using anti-clockwise motion, I just do a few circles. I hope you can see it on the camera, and just allow things to go up to the universe, up to the Father Sky, just to be cleansed. And what the energy of fire and the smoke does, it transmutes all the negative energy. It takes it away from us. If you're using any cleansing herbs, like I have here, for example, sage and Palo Santo, that's always a good time to do it with the incense as well, and just try to light it and do the same thing, anti-clockwise motion. I hope there won't be too much smoke, so you'll be still able to see what I'm doing. Anti-clockwise up. Sage has fantastic cleansing properties. Palo Santo is soothing the vibe. It just makes it more relaxed, and that's why I love to combine those 2 herbs within. But if you don't have any cleansing herbs, it's fine. Incense will do the job as well, because the smoke, it's taking everything what it needs to take. And when we're ready, I invite you to take a piece of paper and pen It can be a smaller piece of paper, it can be few small pieces of paper. You can do this ritual however it suits you. I will write down things on one piece of paper, and my intention for this ritual is I will focus on collective energy of the divine feminine. Jan, could I ask you to focus on the divine masculine part of the collective and set your intention in order to release whatever needs to be released from the collective of the divine masculine? I think it'll be an amazing, a very powerful effect if we're going to just join the sources, you as a divine masculine and me as a divine feminine representative, both polarities. And what we're going to actually write down, and I want you to think about for a moment, what is that you would like to release? What is that you would like to get rid of from your life? What is that you would like to ask the universe to help you to take out of your energy field or take out of your life, and just simply remove it, making space for the new thing? I will give you a few minutes to just think about it, and the things you feel are suitable for you to put them on a list, just start writing them down. I am not sure if you can see what I'm writing down, but that's no issue because I will share what I'm releasing anywhere.
Yes, as for the collective masculine, there's only one thing at this moment that I can think about. It's soldiers going to war. That's what I want to release. I want to release all the men who are fighting against other men, their brothers, who are at war. So when I brought peace to the quarters, I thought, okay, this is something we really have to release today. So I have just one 3-letter word on my piece of paper. As you can see, this is what I'm releasing today.
I have shivers up and down my spine. This is so powerful. Thank you, Jan, for bringing this intention. I think it's so important to come together at this time and bring the energy of light as well as energy of love where it needs to go. Because believe it or not, those people who are possessed by the energy of fighting for power and whatever is their intention, they need our love right now because they're missing it so much.
Yeah. And no man should be forced to kill another man. Brothers, though from different countries, they should feast together, drink together, have fun together, and not fight. May there be peace throughout the whole world.
It is done. Mote it be. Thank you. I will give you a few seconds to reflect if there is anything else you would like to put on the list. And your intentions can be big and powerful, like Jan wrote today. It can be small, and it can be something on your personal journey. Use this energy, the energy of the full moon, to just let go and surrender to whatever needs to be surrendered. When you finish, we're going to do something with this paper. But before I'll go to that, I would like to add an intention for today's release. As a representative of the divine feminine energy, I release the fear of everything, whatever areas of your life is affected by fear. fear of war, fear of losing beloved, fear of losing your health, your life, fear of letting go, whatever type of fear is holding you, just let it go and release. I also release the energy of lack in whatever shape or form it is manifesting for you. I release the energy of oppressors, the energy of being binded or being controlled. That's what I want to release from our collective, from within myself as well, but also from the energy of this planet. And if there is something you would like to add, Jan, now is the time. If not, we will continue with the ritual, because now it's going to be the fun part. I hope there was enough time for you to write all of the things you want to release. And, if the answer is yes, please make sure to have your ashtray handy, because we're going to burn this piece of paper. And what the energy of fire does is, as I said at the beginning, it transforms and transmutes. It takes the smoke, takes things away, takes the energy away, and just releases it. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold the paper away from us, like this, like you can see on the screen, away, because we're releasing. And we're going to do it 3 times. So away, I've done it once, there is the second time, and the third time as well. What we should get is a small piece of paper like this. And I want you to meditate for a few seconds on what you put on this paper and what you wrote. And when you're ready, with being extra cautious, move this paper above the fire and allow it to catch the fire. Hopefully the fire and smoke alarms in Ireland won't start, but if they do, it's fine. And allow the piece of paper to burn. It is safe to put it in the ashtray and let it burn. Just make sure you won't get hurt, and just patiently observe the entire process. Look how the paper is burning, how things you want to release are being taken away by the power of the universe, by the power of full moon, by the power of fire and smoke. I'm just going to give my piece of paper a little bit more time. And while I'm doing it, I'm just imagining how the things I wrote down here just transmutes, change, and leave my energy field, your energy field. And you will see when the process is done, if the paper will be burned entirely and with the smoke will evaporate. It's actually, mine is burning pretty slow in a very even and nice form, which means that there is no obstacles, no blocks, and the universe is taking care of it. The fire is taking care of it. What is really important is to let those ashes cool down, and after we finish today's call, I invite you to take those ashes and safely dispose them using the element of air, as the full moon is an element of Gemini, which is connected with the element of air. Perhaps we'll discuss and talk about it later. What is the correlation between the elements? However, I want you to safely dispose these ashes by blowing them into either if you can go outside and safely dispose it in the garden, just blow them in a garden, ideally under the light of the full moon. If not, you can do it in a sink or in a toilet, somewhere safe. Just make sure that the ashes are completely burned and that they won't start a fire. This is very, very important. That's why we're going to leave this part as a very, very last one. I will remind you to take those ashes away. The reason we're doing it is we don't want to hold the ashes in the house. It's very important to get rid of them. You can also throw them into your fire if you have one, but make sure to get rid of the ashes tomorrow, so the energy could fully be released from your aura and from your energy field. And yes, if that was your first fire ritual, whoever's watching us, congratulations, you did it. We are done. I'm gonna close the circle for now by saying thank you for joining us, and thank you for bringing such a powerful and beautiful intentions. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna jump quickly back in front of the screen.
Thank you, Luna. That was so amazing. That was so lovely. So well done. So may what our eyes and ears have gained in this ritual be with us, and we bring it into the world and let go what no longer serves us, because that's what this time of year is all about. So, if you want to hang out for a bit more, we're back. We're back, and put your mic on, Luna.
Can you hear me?
You're loud and clear. You're loud and clear.
Yes. I muted myself for a second because my doggy started to bark.
Well, that was so lovely, and you know, I felt our energy. I felt the energy of the people joining us here in ritual. There were a lot of people in the YouTube comments saying, "May there be peace throughout the world." So we did it. We did it.
Your intention just completely shocked me because it was so deep and so powerful that for a second I had just a blank page around me saying, oh my God, this is so powerful. I'm loving this. And I was overwhelmed with actually the power of intention. But that's how we can change the world, just by bringing more light and more love. So thank you for setting this intention. It was absolutely lovely and so needed. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Lovely. So what we can do now, because it's a full moon, and you and me, we're card readers, and as you might have seen earlier on my table, I have a few versions of the tarot cards through the ages, and so I'll go to that screen again and explain what we have there.
I was hoping you're gonna suggest that, because I saw this beautiful table and so many moon cards that I was like feeling like a baby in the candy shop. Those who don't know, I am just passionate about decks of cards itself. So for me, it's just an absolute treat.
Okay, well, let's make it happen then. As you can see, I have a few cards here on the table. I have put them in a kind of a chronological order, from very old to very modern. The first tarot that is kept through the ages is from Florence. It's the Visconti Sforza deck, And this moon card is from the Visconti Sforza. It's very different than the moon cards we have at this time. As you can see, it depicts just one woman, and she has the moon in her hand. These cards were hand painted, so very expensive, very exclusive. Only the rich people at those times could pay for tarot cards. Unfortunately, that changed quickly because we had the block printing cards and the block printing method, and we could go with easier designs and print.
Jan,
Well,
could you? Oh,
yes,
perfect. I was going to say that we can see your hand.
and
not
print
the
cards
hand.
by hand. And
Wow.
here we see actually a tarot deck from the late 16th century, 17th century, where we have the design. We still see in modern cards. We see the jackal and the wolf. We see the crab type of animal. We see of course the moon, and we see the sun reflected in the moon. It's still there. These cards were actually mass produced for mostly in France. That's why the deck is called Tarot de Marseille. It was also brought to the northern France, where you had the Paris, Rouen, and Brussels type. They were kind of different, but this is the method that was actually used to the 16th, 17th, and 18th and 19th century until the big reveal. Because in 1904 there was the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Rider was just a publisher. Waite was the man who decided it, but the real artist, of course, was Pixie. Her real name was Pamela Coleman Smith, and only recently are we really appreciating the lovely work she did with this deck. And it's 120 years old now, and it's still, up to this day, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is still the most sold deck throughout the world, day after day after day.
Wow.
Very popular. Very popular. Then modern times came. 1940s. The wickedest man on earth, Aleister Crowley. He conceptualized a tarot deck based on Golden Dawn methods. The Sacred Order of the Golden Dawn was there, and during the Second World War, himself, Aleister Crowley, and Lady Freda Harris, actually one of the wives of one of the members of Parliament, an artist, they together made and created this deck, the Thoth Tarot, and up to this day, it's still the second most used tarot deck in the world. And these cards, especially the Rider-Waite and the Thoth, or the Rider-Waite-Smith and the Thoth, the Crowley-Harris deck, they're both have their basis in the Golden Dawn, so they're universal. They can be used universally, and the cards meanings are interchangeable. So once you know to work with any of these decks, you can probably read with any deck. So modern iterations. Of course, this is a deck that's near to my heart. It was designed by Philip Cargom and Will Worthington. And Philip Cargom, at the time he created it, was of course the chosen chief of the Order of Bards, Ovids, and Druids, which is the Druid order where I have been connected to for 30 years. I know the man personally. He's a very nice and very welcoming and warm man. He resigned from his job as chief of the order in 2020, so he's now actually replaced by an Irish woman, Emer Burke. And well, we're all going to meet up this weekend because there's a big Druid gathering in Glastonbury, the winter gathering, where I will visit with my wife, and together we'll have a good time. Another modern deck, but still very much very much into the original. The original is the Illuminati tarot. We still see the two doggies, and we still see the two stones. We still see the crab there coming out of the water. So even modern decks would still have traditional meaning. So there's probably 400 years between these decks, and still the imagery is similar and can be used for the same purpose. And here we have your lovely favorite deck, the Lightseers Tarot. I'll put you on screen as well.
I'm just holding the same card.
Yeah, the same card from the same tarot, and yeah, here we see a bit of a novelty. We see the mysterious, we see the unknown, we see the hidden things, the things below the surface that are happening. A very interesting thing actually is in the toss deck, my favorite deck. That's the only deck that also represents that when the moon is out, it's the dark night. Sometimes I say the dark night of the soul. Always remember that behind the horizon, the sun is always shining.
Jan, you just read my mind, because I was going to ask you which of those beautiful decks is your favorite and which one you work the most often with.
Yeah. Well, I told you, this is the Toss Tarot. Very deep deck, very sometimes blunt, very to the point. Beautiful readings, honest, sometimes brutally honest. But yeah, I really love to work with it. It's strong.
Could we talk about the symbols itself for a minute? Because those symbols have a deeper meaning, like everything in tarot.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. In all the moon cards, we of course we see the night. It's always night. The full moon hangs in the sky. The two towers are there. That's the path towards the light. And yeah, then of course we have the water. The moon. The element of the moon is water, of course. The element of the moon is water, and the jackal and the wolf, they're howling at the moon. The crayfish emerges from the water. Howling at the moon, of course, is legendary. That's more or less where if we go into lore, where werewolf lore comes from. When you are bitten by a werewolf and the full moon is out, you transform yourself into a werewolf. So the moon is also a card of inner transformation, spiritual journeys, shape-shifting. It's all in the card. It's all in the card. The feminine aspect of the moon is we see in the combination, because the moon itself astrologically is related to Pisces. You see the two fishes symbol, but the card that rules the moon is the priestess. She's the boss of the moon. She's the mystical woman. Priestesses are usually in their life phase before they get children, or when the children have left the home, or some priestesses don't have children at all and will be the priestess for their whole life.
That is amazing. I didn't know that about the aspect of high priestess connected to motherhood. Thank you for sharing that. That's
well, actually, you know the Empress card, which comes after the priestess. That's
true.
That's the archetypical mother, and the priestess is, you could say, is the crone type. So it's the archetype that comes into your life after motherhood. When you get time again, when you become the wise woman, when you become the priestess.
Interesting, very
Yeah,
interesting. Thank you for bringing this and sharing that aspect as well. Well, I love the energy of High Priestess card itself, and thank you for bringing this connection. So please tell me how those two cards correlate with each other. How would they work with each other? When you read cards, what does it mean?
well, of course, the moon card, especially the Thoth moon card, has very good the cycles of the moon, the downs and the ups again. You know, the new moon, the awakening moon, but of course the cycle of the moon, uh, and then there we have the priestess coming in. The cycle of the moon is of course the lunar cycle in the feminine body, in the female body, where 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 you go with the moon. You go with the moon. Your body moves with the moon, and every uh, every month when your menstruation is there, it will be mostly when you have it regularly. It will be connected to the lunar cycles.
Absolutely. And we women, as a woman, I mean the physical entity as a
Yes.
woman, we are so connected with the energy of moon itself. The cycle, if it's healthy, just like you said, correlates with the moon. They're actually every phase of the moon correlates with the every aspect of women's life in general. But maybe that's a good topic for one of our other meetings as well, to just go
Oh,
deeper of that.
we could do a whole meeting about
Oh,
the cycles of the moon. Definitely,
that would
definitely.
be great,
Yeah.
because one thing leads to another, and it's great to see how it works and how it operates. And I love the image of the card, of the moon card in your favorite deck, because it represents and it shows it exactly. Uh, Beautiful, beautiful. I actually have a completely different deck as well.
Which was that?
This is the Dancing in Dark Tarot.
Wow.
Uh, and like when you said about the symbols as well, it amazes me that many authors who create decks will keep those symbols. We have those towers here, the wolf and the dog. And could you tell me more about what is those things represent as well? The dog, the wolf. How do you view this when you read cards? What do they represent to you?
Well, the wolves are of course loyalty and but also safety, guarding the guardians. You know, they bark when there's things things happening that they don't trust, and uh, yeah, of course, it has to do also with madness. You know, lunatics and lunacy, and and then you have the diseases of the dogs. You know, the mad dog disease. So there's a lot of aspects related to the dogs, but especially dogs, of course, loyalty, safety, security, uh, courage, dexterity. They're strong. They're handy. They can do anything. Um, the the stones would definitely go for the clock, the time of the years, the alignment we see in Stonehenge, and we see in all the moon cards that the stones, they are aligned with the full moon. So the full moon is always in the middle of the stone. So that's the lunar alignment, dating back to the old days when before even the Druids, when stone circles were created by Iron Age or Bronze Age people or Stone Age people. And so the card goes deep into history, has all the elements in it. You know, all the elements are there. The water, and the animal coming out of the water, the road is being the earth, the moon is in the sky, in the stars, and the light representing the fire. So it's a complete card.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because when you showed your image and when I looked at this card, what I saw actually was the time between time, which we are now. And last week we were talking about the time between time. So I invite you to watch that restream. It's in our playlist. Absolutely fabulous piece of content and piece of information, what actually time between time means.
Yeah,
Because this full moon is also called the beaver moon. And what was the name with the dark side of the moon?
the dark winter moon. Yeah, yeah,
Dark winter moon. Yes,
and also
absolutely.
the deep winter moon, and also in Celtic times, and that's more or less related to Samhain. It would be have been called the morning moon. So the moon of morning, not of the early morning, but morning with OU, with sorrow, you know. And of course we let go of the spirits of the ones that left us in this month, so we can mourn about them.
Oh, I love
Mm.
that. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that. Thank you.
yeah. And especially, you know, and also the moon is definitely related to this time between time. It's a time to explore your deeper feelings, you know, to go deeper. A need for introspection, signal a period of uncertainty and change. Of course, we're changing, we're transgressing, we're progressing. We leave the old year behind. We leave 2023 is slowly coming to an end, and we're more than excited uh,
Mm.
to explore the new year 2024.
I think it's also the time of reflection, and what moon does is reflect the light. So
Exactly.
that's a very good time to just reflect on the entire year or period of time. But it's a good time to just look within, which either full moon itself or the
Yeah.
moon card in tarot is inviting us to do.
And it was quite big in the sky. Of course, quite busy in the sky this week. We had it was Uranus, I think, that was standing next to the moon. Yesterday we had the Pleiades in the as a backdrop of the moon. So it's busy in the sky this week, this full
Not
moon.
mention that Mars came into, as well as the Sun came into the fiery energy.
Yeah,
Right now, we got into the
Aquarius.
energy of Sagittarius, which is the energy of fire, and with a correlation to Mars, another big fiery warrior, things are more explosive in a way. We may notice more fiery energy within us or fiery things going on around us. Like recently, we had riots in Dublin. It was
Oh yeah.
exact the time when the Mars and the Sun went into the fiery Sagittarius as well. So it was explosive. It was a lot of fire
And
going on.
focused.
Exactly, exactly.
Like
Exactly.
Sagittarius, the archer. And of
Yes.
course we should take care, and like I said earlier, um, that when we have all this energy, that it's true that we have this energy, and that we don't uh, burn out by the energy, that the candle doesn't burn on both ends these days. So
Exactly.
still
Exactly.
take care of you. Yeah.
Would you say that the energy of the moon can sometimes be distorted? Because by looking at this image here, the reflection is
Hmm.
not the real reflection. It doesn't show the reality. It's like what she can see is a little bit different than what it truly is.
Yes, of course, and we have the same here. You know, the distortion, the the water, the water always mirrors differently. Uh, Water when it moves, you know, when you throw a stone in the pool, the reflection changes, and maybe this girl that's looking at her own reflection in the water, maybe there's a bit of a wind blowing, and she sees something totally different than reality. So the illusions of the reflections, uh, yeah, yeah. When light reflects, it goes to a prism, and it differs. It changes.
Like in a boiling water, we won't be able to see the reflection. I always say that if we're not in the state of mind of peace and calm, like the surface of the water, which reflects everything ideal, we can't see things and we can't make clear decisions because of that distortion, because of that distorted image and reflection.
So that's why it's better to go within, think and think again before you make any definite decisions.
Yeah. Jan, as a druid, is there anything you practice during the full moons? Is there anything you bring from that side of your spiritual practices?
Yeah, that's a funny and interesting question because in the order and in our practices we honor the moon, we honor the 12 or 13 moons that revolve through the year, but our ceremonies and celebrations are on the eightfold path. So Imbolc, spring equinox, Beltane, summer solstice, Lunasa, autumn equinox, Samhain, and winter solstice. Those 8 festivals with the 8-9 weeks in between is what we do, and we of course we see other pagan traditions celebrate the moon, and we follow them. Like I joined you today as a druid. I'm more than happy, and I found it very interesting. But it's something we can do for ourselves, but it's not in the books. We follow the eightfold year,
I
and the
see.
moon and the lunar cycles are there, and we use the cycles of the moon to count time as well. Of course, that's completely, and we even druids do everything in cycles. So we have the cycle of the day, we have the cycle of the moon, we have the cycle of the 4 seasons, and we have the cycles of the year, and we also have the cycle of life. And we say you're born, we are born around in the middle of winter, and when we're young adults, it's Beltane. When we're proper grown-ups, it's Lunasa, and when we become old and wise, it's Samhain again.
That's fascinating. We
So
should
we
definitely create a separate conversation about it, because I have so many questions about what you just said within the cycles, because it correlates with the cycles of the moon as well.
of
And
course,
after our last conversation, I was trying to find the answer of what I do resonate, because as you said, druids operate obviously with the connection with Mother Nature, but there is the element of storytelling and night, all the legends being involved and included in it. And I was trying to find where I am, if maybe perhaps I'm a druid and I don't know about it, or maybe there is something different. And long story short, I just got to a conclusion that I'm just a lunar baby operating with my goddess moon. And it was a funny discovery for me, because out of every practices I make, because I'm all about being holistic and grabbing everything which resonates with my soul, it was a discovery that I'm more connected to the moon that I actually realized, and it was a beautiful discovery. And I'm gonna tell you a little secret. When Jan called me the other day, a few hours before our live stream, I was just like a lunatic. I was so chaotic. I was going through so many processes at once. And just like the moon, there was just the phase of the day, because later it's changed. But it was amazing to observe how actually affected I get by the energy of the moon, how easily I get triggered by some energy changes as well. Because for people who read energies, for empaths, for people who are sensitive in one shape or form, this time may be a little bit challenging, and it definitely was for me. But as everything, as every cycle, it comes, transmutes, and turns into something else.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's a lovely thought, a lovely idea to leave it at this for today. And we'll be back next Monday, 8 o'clock again. Will be a very interesting broadcast as well. I'll come back with my stories of my visit to Glastonbury the coming weekend and meeting a lot of Druids. And so let's make that the topic of our next meeting.
I am super delighted because Glastonbury is just such an amazing place for me and so important, and it has such a huge place within my heart that I'm
share that.
so looking forward for next week.
Okay. Well, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for watching. And Luna, see you later.
Jan, the Druid, thank you so much for joining us here on Luna and the Druid.